Hey guys, it's Hat Guy with the picks here. It is Thursday. So what we have tonight is the beginning of the NFL week. Guys that are viewing this, we are 11-2 on the year. We are 9-0 in the NFL. Perfect 9-0 start. Unheard of. Unbelievable. It's true. It's true. What we got tonight is we got an NFC showdown in the West. We have the Rams traveling to Seattle. Kind of a big game tonight. One of the teams got a needed win last week, which took them to 2-2, which was Seattle. And the other side, the Rams, they took their first loss of the year by the hands of the Cardinals. Last week, the Rams took on the Cardinals. In that game, Matthew Stafford, he was 26 for 41, which hasn't been typically Stafford this year. 26 for 41 for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception and 6 rushes for 21 yards. Now, those numbers don't sound bad at all. And they're really not bad at all. But the expectations for this quarterback and this team, and they said it best, they definitely underachieved last week. And I can agree with that, not coming out with the win and not being as competitive as they needed to be. Last week, Henderson came back last week. And he toted the ball 14 times for 89 yards, and he had 5 catches for 27 yards. It's a nice return. Van Jefferson had 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp had 5 catches for 64 yards. And Rashawn Woods had 4 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. The defense last week, they had 3 sacks and a forced fumble. And that game was against a very, very top-of-the-line secondary of Arizona, and overall defense, which is a surprisingly, they come in this week with the first 4 weeks underneath our belt as the number 3 defense as a unit in the league, Arizona Cardinals. And the Rams gave up 480 yards to that offense and Kyler Murray. Last week in Seattle, Seattle played the 49ers. And in that game, Wilson had 16 completions after throwing the ball 23 times. He had 149 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. He also contributed with his feet with 4 rushes for 26 yards and a touchdown. Chris Carson got banged up in the game last week, and this isn't no surprise. This happens with Chris Carson every single year. You know, Chris Carson is pretty much to be expected to miss at least somewhere between 2 and 3 games every single year. As long as I've done fantasy and as long as I've watched football, Chris Carson is a hell of a running back. But every year that he's been in the league, he has been plagued with small injuries that don't typically put him on the IL, but he misses games here and he misses games there. And last week he did get banged up. Last week he had 13 rushes for 30 yards. What they did was they brought in Alex Collins. Let me pause and say that again. Alex Collins. If you don't know him, don't worry about it because no one knew him. But Alex Collins, he came in and he was productive. I'm not going to lie, he was very productive. Came off the bench. They fed him the ball 10 times for 44 yards, and he had a touchdown. And Wilson connected with them 2 times for another 30 yards on the ground. So, I mean, you're talking almost 75 yards of total offense and a touchdown off a guy straight off the bench. Next man up theory. He came in, and he got the job done for him. Last week, Metcalf, 4 catches, 65 yards and a touchdown. That's almost like clockwork with him. Lockett had a down game for sure. They put the clamps on him. He had 4 catches for 24 yards. And the defense had 2 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. So tonight's game, what we have is We had the line opening up at the Rams -1. And right now, Thursday around 11 o'clock, we are sitting at the Rams -2.5. So the line has gone up a whole 1.5 points. The money line opened up at the Rams -120. It now sits at -140. The total opened up at 53, and the total sits at 54.5. All those numbers are contributing to one side and how this game is going to be played out if you look at just the numbers, which I'm a big number guy. What I do want to talk about is I do want to talk about the Rams defense and what they have done this year and what they have given up this year. And once again, last week was another testimony to experts and an analyst talking about a Rams defense is one of the most special units out there and is getting absolutely trampled on this year. And like last week, this is pretty from far, but far from pretty whenever I dig in and I look at numbers. The Rams defense, they definitely look like they've taken a step backwards. Last year, they were number 1 in scoring, and they were number 1 in total defense overall last year. And this year, they're 27th in yards allowed. Right now, going into week 5, they're giving up 396.8 yards a game. And they're 18th in points allowed at 24.8, almost 25. If you go back and you look at last year's numbers, you're looking at a defense that gave up a hair over 300 yards a game, and you're looking at a team that gave up right around 20 points a game. So, the influx on numbers are almost astonishing, to be honest with you. This ain't a defense that lost people. This was a core defense that brought back every single stud they had last year. Tampa Bay and Arizona, which those were 2 of their first 4 games, they combined for 911 yards total and 61 total points. That's a lot. A whole lot. Now, we're talking about Brady. Brady does pretty much what he wants. And Kyler Murray, that leads the only undefeated team left, and he will be talked about most of the time, and most of the time he will be on the top of the list when we are talking about MVPs for the NFL at the end of the year. And to be honest with you, I can't see any defense shutting that offense down. So what I'm saying is the Rams defense is still by far one of the best defensive units in the NFL. And come year end, all those numbers at the Rams defense, they will all even out. And once again, they will be talked about how special the defense is. And in this game, there's a little Tom and Jerry here. We have Aaron Donald, which has been in the league for 8 years now. And the quarterback that he has sacked the most in his career is, go figure, the opposing quarterback tonight, Russell Wilson. He has sacked him 13 times, which is his highest total against any quarterback in his career. So there'll be a little chase. There'll be a good chase tonight. And when it comes down to third, this is important. And I wanted to hit this too. When it comes down to third down efficiency, the Rams are third best in the NFL at 55%. And Seattle was 29th in the league at 33%. Last week, Seattle didn't convert on 1 first down on the first 5 drives and finished 2 for 10 on third downs in the game. You can't do that against a Rams team that is a stick of dynamite that is ready to go off at any second. You may be able to do something like that with a lot of other offenses in the league. Probably maybe 90% of teams in the league, you could get away with that and it would still even out. This Rams offense it's not to play with. If you aren't coming into the game and you aren't 100% equipped to do what you need to do, the Rams are going to exploit you. They're going to. And trust me, The Rams are going to stop you on third down defense a lot more than you're going to stop them. And that's going to be the case tonight also. Chris Carson, coming into this game, he's listed as questionable. But he hasn't practiced all week. And normally and typically, when you have a player that has not practiced all week with the team, they don't play. They don't play. But he still has a questionable tag, so there is still a slight hope or a glimmer that he may be able to suit up. I don't think so. And even if he does, he was running at about 30% last week. If he starts this game tonight and he plays this game tonight and he's on the field, I would have to guess that he would be he'd be at about 40%, I was going to say. I'd like to say 50, but I want to be realistic. He'd be out there at about 40% because he's not healthy. And this is expected out of him. Like I said, he gets hurt. But Alex Collins did come in last week, and he did do what he needed to do. So what I see tonight in tonight's game is, to be honest with you, is I see a Seattle. Seattle also has 3 defensive starters that all have questionable tags too. Mayowa, Dunlap, and Taylor. 3 starting defensive people on that defensive unit, and none of them has played a snap in practice this week, which doesn't bode well for the defense once again. What we have is we got 2 teams, one healthy, one unhealthy. We got 2 teams, one that can't convert on third down and one that loves to get the third down. We got 2 teams that can put up great points on anyone's defense. And we have 1 team that's going to win tonight. What I see, obviously, is a banged-up team. I see Seattle, they're coming in looking like a wounded animal. Some of their bigger pieces for tonight's game, I think, will be out. A Rams team that underachieved last week and took their first loss. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're going to come out. They're pissed. They're mad. And they're not happy. And unfortunately, that is not a good recipe for Russell Wilson and what he's trying to cook up tonight. Don't get me wrong. The 12th man in Seattle will be jumping tonight. They will be jumping. The energy and the volume will be off the chart. But that can only last for so long. And when that kind of like teeters down a little bit and evens out, now you have 2 football teams on the field. One that has lost the energy that the 12th man has been giving them for most of the game and getting worn down on a team that just doesn't, they're just not a full unit this week. I believe Seattle's going to give it all they got. I really do. I think they will play a good game with what they got. But I see the Rams wearing them down. The defense getting worn down. What they have on the field. I do think it'll be a fun game to watch. I do think there will be quite a few points going up on the board. Tonight, the pick, take the Rams minus 2.5. And enjoy the sweat tonight. I do think it's going to be a fun game to watch. Hey guys, I just ask that you please like, comment, hit the subscribe button so you get notified for all my videos. I ask you that you please share this. We are undefeated in the NFL, 9-0. That's something to get excited about. And we're 11-2 overall. Let's take it to 12-2 tonight and 10-0 in the NFL. Let's get back to getting this cash.